Last Thanksgiving, in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, Walter, the retired accountant from earlier in this series, $4.7 million quiet net worth, drives a 14-year-old Buick, hosted his 29-year-old nephew Bryce for the holiday dinner. Bryce is a sales manager in Charlotte. He has been to Walter's house maybe 3 times in his entire life. He spent the entire dinner trying to figure out, indirectly, how much his uncle was actually worth. Bryce asked about Walter's house. "What did you pay for this place back in the day?" Walter said. "It was a fair price for the time." Bryce asked about Walter's car. "Why don't you upgrade? Surely you can afford something newer." Walter said, "It runs great. I'm partial to it." Bryce asked about Walter's investments. "What's your portfolio looking like? You must have done well over the years." Walter said, "I do all right. Past the cranberry sauce." 5 separate attempts, 5 graceful deflections. Bryce left Lancaster knowing nothing more about Walter's finances than when he arrived. After Bryce left, Walter's longtime friend Diana, the project manager who has been having Tuesday lunches with him for 9 years, sat at the kitchen table with Walter and laughed. She said, "Did you teach him those rules?" Walter said, "Nobody taught them to me either. I figured them out." Today I'm walking you through the 5 rules Walter follows. The same 5 rules every quietly wealthy person I have ever met follows. 5 things they never discuss, plus the underlying reason why. Once you see the pattern, you can spot it in your own life. I'm Trish, and I sit across from the people who actually built it, so the conversational code that protects every quietly wealthy person you'll ever meet, you're going to know by the end of this video. And if you decide to start using it yourself, your relationships will quietly get easier. Here's why this matters more than the surface might suggest. In the previous videos in this series, you've met the quietly wealthy, Eleanor, with her $4.1 million on a $340,000 income. Walter, with his $4.7 million across 30-plus years of disciplined saving. Henry, the truck mechanic, with $2.1 million. Margaret, the librarian, who left $11 million to a college nobody had heard of. You've seen what they do. The housing decisions, the car choices, the Sunday dinners, the rebuilt closets, the boring Hondas, the 7-piece capsule wardrobes. What you haven't seen yet, and what may be more important than any of the financial moves, is what they don't do. Specifically, the things they refuse to talk about, the 5 conversational territories they silently protect for the entire length of their adult lives. Why does this matter? Because in modern American life, talking about money, your money specifically, has measurable financial cost. Every dollar amount you reveal about yourself opens doors that are hard to close. Family members start asking for help. Friends start measuring themselves against you. Salespeople adjust their pitch. Acquaintances start treating you differently. Future romantic partners filter you on numbers instead of compatibility. Employers see you as a flight risk worth less. Lenders, contractors, and service providers quietly raise their quotes. The money tax of talking about your money, the friction, the uncomfortable conversations, the lost relationships, the higher prices, is one of the most expensive things in modern professional life. The wealthy figured this out a long time ago. They built a code to avoid it. 5 territories, 5 rules, 1 underlying principle. Let me walk you through each. One thing before the 5. There's a phrase that comes up constantly in old money circles. Money talks, wealth whispers. We talked about this in earlier videos. The deeper version of that phrase, and the one that explains today's content, is this. People who are new to money want to discuss it. People who are secure in money refuse to. The new money pattern is about notifying the world that you've arrived, the price tag drop, The brag about the return on the latest investment. Do you know what I paid for this? The status-checking question about other people's purchases. The quiet wealth pattern is the opposite. It's about containment, keeping the financial information inside a very small circle of trusted people. A spouse, a financial advisor, sometimes one or two close family members, and out of every other interaction. The 5 rules are not about being secretive for its own sake. They're about creating a default boundary that protects the wealth itself, the relationships around it, and the daily peace of the person who has it. Here are the 5. Territory 1. Net worth, income, and specific dollar amounts. This is the first rail, the most rigid one. The one Walter defended 5 separate times in a single dinner. Quietly wealthy people never reveal their net worth, their income, the size of their portfolio, the value of their house, or the dollar amount in any specific account. Not to extended family, not to friends, not to co-workers, not at parties, not on dating apps, not on social media, not anywhere. Their spouse knows, their financial advisor knows, the IRS knows. Beyond that, almost nobody. The deflection patterns are consistent. I do all right. We're comfortable. It was a fair price for the time. I don't really keep track of that level of detail. We've been lucky. Let's not talk shop tonight. None of these answers contain a number. None of them confirm or deny anything. None of them invite a follow-up question. They are graceful conversation pivots designed to close the topic without making the asker feel rejected. Why so rigid? Because once a number is in someone's head, it lives there permanently. It changes how they treat you. It changes what they ask of you. It changes the gift you're expected to give at their daughter's wedding. It changes who calls you when they have a financial emergency. It changes how the contractor quotes the bathroom remodel. You cannot untell someone how much you make. You cannot unshare a net worth figure. The information leaks. It always leaks. To one cousin, who tells one neighbor, who tells one friend at the gym. Within a year, 20 people you've never met know what you're worth. The wealthy learned this rule the hard way, usually after the first time they shared too much and watched the consequences. Walter learned it in his early 30s, after telling his sister his bonus number. The loans started 2 weeks later. He never made the mistake again. Practice the deflections. They are tools, not lies. Every quietly wealthy person you'll ever meet has a rotation of about 4 to 6 phrases they use to deflect dollar questions. You can build your own. Territory 2. What they paid for things. This is the second rail, the price tag drop. Quietly wealthy people don't tell you what their watch cost, their car, their house, their vacation, their handbag, their wine, their college tuition for the kids, their kitchen renovation, anything. If asked directly, what did this set you back? They redirect. It was a deal at the time. I don't even remember. My wife handled the purchase. It was a long story. It works for what we need. They will discuss the quality of an item, the reasoning behind the choice, whether it's worked out or not, whether they do it again. They will not discuss the dollar amount. This is one of the most consistent giveaways between actually wealthy and trying to look wealthy. The new money pattern leads with the number. This watch is $14,000. We paid $1.8 million for the house. The vacation was $40,000 all in. The number is the point. The old money pattern omits the number entirely. The watch is a piece I've had a long time. The house is where we settled in 1994. The vacation is a trip we've been taking since the kids were small. Eleanor, the doctor, was wearing her grandmother's gold chain at that Charleston bar. We mentioned it in an earlier video. She didn't tell anyone what the chain was worth. She mentioned that it was her grandmother's. The piece had a story, not a price. Whitney, the lawyer at Eleanor's dinner, had been wearing a $7,300 designer bracelet that night and had mentioned the price within the first 10 minutes of arriving. The bracelet was the point. The conversation about the bracelet was the point. The number was the point. One of these patterns is wealth. The other is a performance. The wealthy know the difference. They do not perform. Practice this for the next month. When someone asks what you paid for something, give them a quality answer instead of a number. It served me well. I've had it for years. I really like the way it fits. Watch how the conversation changes. Watch how you feel after. Territory 3, they're giving. This is the rule Margaret followed for 50 years, the retired librarian from Decorah, Iowa, who left $11 million to Luther College. Quietly wealthy people do not talk about what they give to charity, not the amount, not the cause, not the frequency, not their involvement. If someone asks them to support something, they say yes or no. If they say yes, they write the check. They do not announce the amount. They do not post about it. They do not get the plaque on the building. They do not attend the gala in their honor. They do not let the recipient organization use their name in any promotional material. In Margaret's case, the entire town of Decorah did not know she had any significant money until the will was read. None of her friends knew. None of her former students. She had taught Sunday school, volunteered at the food bank, and given quietly to the library and the local hospital for 50 years. Nobody knew the actual dollar amounts behind any of it. Why so quiet? 3 reasons. 1. Public giving creates social pressure for more giving. Once your name is on the donor wall at one organization, every similar organization in town starts soliciting you. The list snowballs. The pressure to match what you gave last year never stops. 2. Public giving distorts the giving itself. When the act of giving becomes the act of being seen giving, the recipients of your charity get less. The gala costs $80,000 to throw. That's $80,000 not going to the cause. The plaque costs $4,000. The wing of the building named after you costs the donor a multi-million-dollar gift, partly to cover the wing and the recognition. Quiet giving means more dollars actually reach the people the gift is supposed to help. 3. Public giving turns generosity into a competitive sport. Once people see your number, they compare it to their own number. The recipient family member does the math on what you could have done instead. The cause that didn't get your gift wonders why. The relationships around the giving become tense in ways they never had to. Margaret gave $11 million quietly across her lifetime. Not one nickel of it was used for a plaque, a gala, a building name, or a press release. The money went to scholarships, books, food, and medical care. That's it. The wealthy give more than the non-wealthy as a percentage of income, on average. They give it invisibly. Both facts are true at the same time. Territory 4. People who work for them. This is the rule that catches people off guard. The quiet wealthy do not discuss the people they pay to do things. The housekeeper, the lawn service, the financial advisor, the accountant, the personal trainer, the nanny, the dog walker, the chef, the driver, the estate manager. If they have these services, and many do, they almost never bring it up. They will say, "We get help with the garden," instead of, "Our gardener, Diego, has been with us for 12 years. They will say, "We have someone who comes by once a week," instead of, "The housekeeper costs us $500 a week." They will say, "I have someone who handles that," instead of, "My financial advisor is a fee-only fiduciary at Smith Wealth Management." The deflection is generic. The relationship is private. There are 3 reasons for this rule. 1. Discussing the people who work for you implies a status hierarchy that the wealthy actively avoid signaling. Mentioning the housekeeper to a friend who doesn't have a housekeeper creates an implicit gap that makes the friend uncomfortable. The wealthy don't want their friendships filtered through what they can or can't afford in services. 2. Discussing the people who work for you protects those people's privacy. The housekeeper, the gardener, the nanny, these are real people with their own dignity. Naming them at parties, discussing what they cost, complaining about the dishwasher rookie they sent, all of it disrespects the relationship. The wealthy understand this and protect it. 3. Discussing the people who work for you advertises your wealth in the most uncontrolled way possible. Once your hairdresser knows you have a housekeeper, your hairdresser will price discriminate accordingly. Once your dentist knows you have a financial advisor at a wealth management firm, your dentist's quote on the new crown gets quietly higher. Service providers are paying attention to these signals constantly. Walter's Lawn Service has been the same family-owned company for 22 years. Walter has never named them to anyone outside his immediate household. Eleanor's housekeeper has been with her for 14 years. Eleanor has never said her name in any social setting. The relationships are real. The discretion is part of how they work. Territory 5. Comparisons with others' financial choices. This is the last rule, the hardest one, the one that requires the most discipline. Quietly wealthy people do not openly judge the financial choices of others, not the cousin who bought too much house, not the friend who leased the BMW he can't afford, not the colleague who's burning through inheritance money, not the sibling who's perpetually broke despite earning 6 figures. They have opinions about all of it, often strong opinions. Privately, with their spouse or one trusted friend, they may discuss it bluntly. Publicly, in any group setting, they say nothing. If asked directly, "What do you think about Sarah's new house?" they redirect. "I'm sure she did the math on it. It looks beautiful from the photos. Different strokes. I've never been good at predicting what works for other people." There are 4 reasons for this rule. 1. Voice judgment creates enemies. Sarah will hear what you said. The way information travels through families and friend groups, every uncharitable financial comment you make about someone else will get back to them. Often within weeks, sometimes within hours. 2. Voice judgment limits your future options. If you publicly criticize Sarah's house purchase and a year later you make a similar choice yourself, the hypocrisy is permanent. The wealthy keep options open by withholding judgment on choices they may eventually make themselves. 3. Voice judgment positions you as someone with strong financial opinions, which invites people to ask for your financial opinions, which violates Territory 1 indirectly. Once you've established yourself as the financial opinion person, every cousin's car purchase, every friend's renovation, every co-worker's promotion conversation will rope you in. The wealthy avoid this by never positioning themselves as having opinions worth offering. 4. Voice judgment is almost always wrong anyway. You don't know what trust funds, family help, dual incomes, or other resources are behind the house. The number of people who have judged Walter's 14-year-old Buick and assumed he couldn't afford better is a long list. The wealthy have learned to extend the same charity to others. The rule about other people's money, you observe, but you don't comment, even when you're sure they're making a mistake. 3 objections come up here. Let me handle them. Objection 1. But isn't this just being secretive? Why all the fortress walls? It's not secrecy, it's privacy. There's a meaningful difference. Secrecy is hiding something with the implication of shame. Privacy is keeping something appropriately contained for practical reasons. The wealthy don't hide their financial situation in a way that misleads people. They don't deny they're financially comfortable. They don't dress in costume. They don't pretend to be poor. What they do is decline to provide specific numbers and details that they have no obligation to share. This is the same standard professionals use about their work. A doctor doesn't discuss patient cases at parties. A lawyer doesn't reveal client details. A therapist doesn't share what was said in session. These are privacy norms, not secrecy. They protect the practice and the people involved. Money privacy works the same way. It protects the wealth, the relationships, and the life you've built around them. Objection 2. Doesn't this make you seem cold or distant? Done badly, yes. Done well, the opposite. The quietly wealthy people I know are warm, generous, deeply present in conversations, and genuinely interested in the people around them. They ask questions. They remember details. They show up. They give without making it about themselves. They just don't lead with money. They redirect when asked. They protect the topic. Same way you'd protect the topic of a friend's medical diagnosis or a colleague's marital difficulties, as a default conversational hygiene. The warmth comes from everything else in the conversation. Once you're not spending energy on financial signaling, you have far more energy for actual connection. Walter's nephew Bryce, by the end of the dinner, had no information about Walter's net worth. He had also been asked about his job, his upcoming move, his mother's health, the new puppy he'd just adopted, and what he was reading lately. Walter remembered all of it. That's the warmth. It just wasn't the financial question kind. Objection 3. What if my family or friends keep pushing for the information? This is real. Some people keep asking. Some people get offended when you don't share. Some people interpret your privacy as judgment of them. The fix is the same redirect used patiently multiple times. I just don't talk about that stuff. It's a habit I've had for years. I'm just not comfortable getting into it. Let's talk about something fun instead. Most people stop asking after the second or third deflection. They get the message. The relationship continues. The few who don't stop asking, the ones who push, who get angry, who make it about themselves, those are people whose relationship with you was always going to be filtered through your money. Better to know that early. The boundary doesn't damage the relationship. The boundary reveals what the relationship was always about. 3 steps. This week, none of them require you to actually have wealth. They work at any income level. Step 1. Tonight, build your deflection rotation. Write down 5 redirect phrases for the most common financial questions you get asked. For income, I do all right. Things are stable. I can't complain. For purchase price, it was a deal at the time. I really like how it fits. It served me well. For financial decisions, I've been working on a plan. We've got a system that works. Slow and steady. For comparisons with others, I'm not really one to comment. Different things work for different people. I just focus on my own stuff. Practice them in your head. Say them out loud once or twice. They should feel comfortable, not rehearsed. The next time someone asks you about money, instead of either oversharing or feeling cornered, you'll have a graceful exit ready. Step 2. This week, identify your 5 territories leak. Out of the 5 rules in this video, you almost certainly violate 1 consistently. Most people have one specific area where they share too much without realizing it. For some people, it's purchase prices. They drop dollar amounts on things they bought without thinking about it. For others, it's income. They tell their friends, family, or coworkers what they make. For others, it's their giving. They need credit for what they donate. For others, it's commenting on other people's choices. They have strong opinions they voice openly. Pick the one that's most common for you. For the next 30 days, deliberately catch yourself before doing it. Use a deflection instead. Notice what changes in your relationships. This is the muscle you're building, one territory at a time. Step 3, this month. Test the Wealth by Conversation read. For the next month, in every social setting you're in, watch how people talk about money. Notice who drops prices. Notice who deflects questions. Notice who name drops services they pay for. Notice who voices opinions about other people's financial choices. The pattern, once you can see it, is unmistakable. The people violating all 5 territories are almost always insecure about money, regardless of how much they have. The people quietly following the 5 territories are almost always financially comfortable, even if they don't appear to be. Walter, in his 14-year-old Buick, with his casual deflections at the Thanksgiving table, was telling his nephew everything Bryce needed to know about how to actually build wealth. Bryce just couldn't see it because he was looking for the wrong signals. Once you can see the right signals, the conversational ones, you'll start noticing wealth in places you'd never have spotted it before. If this video helped you, or if you've ever felt the weird pull to overshare about money in social settings, do me one favor. Hit the subscribe button. New video on this channel every single day. Each one is a specific move that puts real money back in your pocket, same way this one just did. And here's what's coming tomorrow that I wish someone had handed me at age 27. If you're in your late 30s, 40s, or even 50s, and you look at your retirement accounts and think, I should have started 10 years earlier, tomorrow's video is for you. Most people who didn't do them feel like they're permanently behind. They're not. Tomorrow I walk you through the exact catch-up plan, specifically built for people in their late 30s through their 50s who feel like they got a late start. There are 5 specific moves that compress 10 years of should have done into 3 to 5 years of accelerated catch-up, with math that works. If you're carrying any I should have started earlier guilt, tomorrow lifts it. I'm Trish. Talk to you then.